She said she was trying polyamory for her growth. I said I wasn't comfortable. She smiled and said, "It's not like you're the only one who wants me." I let her think she was winning. Then I printed every message where she bragged about sleeping with 3 guys in 1 week and mailed them to her religious father, a respected church leader. This morning, 87 missed calls, her family's in shambles. I never intended to cause a family meltdown, but when someone shows such blatant disregard for your feelings while expecting you to maintain their carefully crafted public image, well, sometimes consequences find their way home. For context, I'm James, 27. I met Naomi, 25, at a volunteer event for a local food bank 2 years ago. She was bright, engaging, and came from a well-respected family in our community. Her father, Pastor David Thompson, runs one of the largest churches in our city and is known for his traditional values and community outreach programs. A real pillar of the community type. Naomi and I hit it off immediately. Our relationship progressed quickly, but with one significant caveat. To her father, we presented ourselves as good Christian friends who were getting to know each other in a proper, platonic way. In reality, we'd been sleeping together since our 3rd date. This arrangement was Naomi's idea. My dad would never understand a modern relationship, she explained. He still thinks I'm saving myself for marriage. It's easier this way. I wasn't entirely comfortable with the deception, but I understood family complications. My own parents were fairly progressive, but I'd seen enough friends navigate difficult family dynamics to recognize when compromise was necessary. Plus, Pastor Thompson seemed to approve of me as Naomi's friend. I'd even started attending church with them on Sundays to maintain the parade despite not being particularly religious myself. One important detail about Naomi. Despite being 25, she was still heavily dependent on her family. She worked part-time at the church's administrative office while pursuing a graduate degree in religious studies, a career path her father had strongly encouraged. They paid her tuition, provided her with a family-owned condo to live in, and covered most of her major expenses. This arrangement gave her the appearance of independence while keeping her firmly within the family's sphere of influence. For nearly 2 years, things went smoothly. We were talking about moving in together under the guise of roommates sharing expenses for her father's benefit. I was even thinking about proposing, figuring once we were engaged, we could finally drop the act with her family. Then came that Wednesday evening. We were having dinner at my place when Naomi set down her fork and looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Part excitement, part defiance. "I've been doing a lot of thinking about my personal growth," she began. "I've realized I'm polyamorous." I paused, fork halfway to my mouth. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I don't think I'm built for monogamy. I've been reading about ethical non-monogamy, and it really resonates with me. I want the freedom to explore connections with multiple people." I set my fork down. "Are you saying you want to sleep with other people?" "It's not just about sex, James. It's about having the freedom to form meaningful connections with whoever I want. But yes, those connections could become physical." I took a moment to collect my thoughts. "I respect that you're figuring yourself out, but I'm not comfortable with a polyamorous relationship. That's not what I signed up for." That's when her expression changed from earnest to something closer to smug. "It's not like you're the only one who wants me. You know, I've already had several guys express interest." The casual cruelty of that statement hit me like a physical blow. 2 years together, and that's what she thought of our relationship. A competition she was winning. Several guys. "And when did these guys express this interest?" I asked, keeping my voice level. She waved her hand dismissively. "It doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm telling you what I need. You can either accept it or not." I nodded slowly. "I see. And have you already acted on this polyamory revelation?" She hesitated just long enough for me to know the answer before she said, "I've been exploring some connections." "Yes. Nothing serious yet. Here's where I'll probably lose some of you." Instead of ending things right there or having some dramatic confrontation, I simply nodded and said, "I need some time to think about this." Why? Because in that moment, I realized something I'd been blind to for 2 years. Naomi had been curating a collection of men who validated her ego. This wasn't about polyamory as a thoughtful lifestyle choice. This was about attention, and I'd just become one option in her buffet of admirers. And honestly, this is what happens when average-looking women get relentless validation from men with no standards. We men shower attention on any woman who shows us the slightest interest, inflating their sense of desirability to unrealistic levels. Then we act surprised when they believe they're entitled to an endless stream of adoration. We created this problem. Men need to have some self-respect and stop throwing themselves at women who view them as disposable options. Over the next 2 weeks, I pretended to be processing her revelation while secretly making preparations to exit the relationship. But something unexpected happened. Believing she'd won, Naomi became careless. She started leaving her phone unlocked around me, started openly texting other guys while we were together, even began telling me about her connections, always framed as deep emotional bonds, but transparently just hookups. Tyler really gets my creative side. She'd say, where Brandon and I had the most amazing conversation about spirituality last night. These amazing conversations always seem to happen after midnight in private settings with plenty of alcohol involved. I didn't confront her. Instead, I documented everything. Screenshots of text conversations she left open on her phone where she bragged to her friends about juggling multiple men. Photos of intimate messages with guys she'd supposedly just met. And most damning of all, her own words to me captured in texts where she detailed her exploits, thinking I had accepted this new arrangement. The breaking point came when she casually mentioned sleeping with 3 different guys in 1 week while still expecting me to maintain the good Christian friend facade for her father's benefit. Dad's having a church leadership dinner next weekend, she said, scrolling through her phone while lying on my couch. He wants you to come. He still thinks you're such a good influence on me. She laughed at the irony. And what about Tyler, Brandon, and whoever else? I asked. Do they know about your father's expectations? About the image you're trying to maintain? She looked up suddenly serious. Of course not. And they don't need to. My family life is private. Those worlds don't mix. That night after she left, I made my decision. I compiled all the evidence I'd gathered, screenshots, text logs, her own written admissions. I printed everything, organized it chronologically, and included a brief factual cover letter explaining that I felt her father should know who his daughter really was before continuing to include me in family events under false pretenses. I mailed the package to Pastor Thompson's office at the church, where I knew he personally opened all mail. Then I blocked Naomi's number, removed her from my social media, and waited. The fallout came exactly 3 days later, on a Sunday morning. My phone exploded with notifications. Naomi had created new accounts to message me, called from friends' phones, even had her brother call me. 87 missed calls in total before I stopped counting. The messages ranged from furious to desperate. How could you do this to me? My father is devastated. My mom won't stop crying. They're talking about sending me to a Christian counseling retreat. My dad can't even look at me. Dad's threatening to take back the condo. Please call me back and tell them this was all a misunderstanding. James, they're cutting me off financially. I didn't respond to any of them. I did, however, receive one message that gave me pause from Pastor Thompson himself. James, I would appreciate a meeting with you to discuss the materials you sent. While I am deeply troubled by the content, I want to hear your perspective before making any judgments. This is a private family matter that has now affected my ministry. Please have the courage to face me in person. That hit me differently than Naomi's hysterics. I agreed to meet him at a neutral location, a quiet coffee shop across town. When I arrived, Pastor Thompson looked he'd aged a decade in 3 days. The powerful, confident man who commanded a congregation of thousands now sat hunched over his coffee, eyes bloodshot. My daughter claims you fabricated those messages out of jealousy. He began without preamble that you couldn't handle her rejecting you, so you created this fiction. I took out my phone and showed him the original message threads with timestamps and context intact. I understand this is painful, Pastor, but I didn't fabricate anything. Your daughter has been living a double life for years, not just these past few weeks. He nodded slowly, as if each movement caused him physical pain, including her relationship with you. Yes. I admitted. We were never just friends. I'm sorry for my part in that deception. He was quiet for a long time. Finally, he asked, why did you send this to me? Why not simply end the relationship? That's a fair question, and when I've asked myself many times since, because she wanted to have it both ways, I finally said. She wanted the freedom to disrespect our relationship while keeping me around to maintain her image with you in the church. I was supposed to keep playing the part of the good Christian friend while she did whatever she wanted. And you thought exposing her to her family was an appropriate response? His voice held no judgment, just genuine curiosity. I thought it was time for the truth, I said simply. For everyone involved. He nodded again, then stood up. I appreciate your honesty today, if not your methods. I need to focus on my family now. Please don't contact any of us again. I haven't, but through mutual acquaintances, I've heard the aftermath continues. Naomi was indeed sent to a Christian counseling retreat, a condition of her continued financial support from her parents. They've taken back the condo they provided her and informed her that her tuition payments for next semester are contingent on regular therapy and church attendance. Several church elders have questioned whether Pastor Thompson can effectively lead given his family's moral failings. A family in shambles, a reputation damaged, a ministry questioned, all because of some printed screenshots. Do I regret it? That's complicated. I didn't set out to destroy a family or hurt a church community. I simply refused to be used as a prop in someone else's performance. Was mailing those messages to her father extreme? Probably. But after years of being part of a lie, extreme seemed like the only way back to truth. For those who think I went too far, imagine investing years in someone only to discover you're just another reflective surface for their vanity. Imagine being asked to maintain a lie that benefits everyone but you. What would you have done? Edit. A lot of you are calling me sexist for my comments about women getting validation from men with no standards. I'm just stating facts. If men weren't so desperate for female attention, women wouldn't develop these inflated egos where they think they can treat good partners as disposable. It's basic supply and demand. When someone is showered with options, they value each individual option less. This isn't misogyny. It's human nature. Edit 2, to clarify. I'm not religious and never claimed to be devoutly Christian to her father. I attended church events and was respectful of their beliefs, but I never actively pretended to be something I'm not. The deception was about the nature of our relationship, not my personal beliefs. Naomi was the one presenting herself as a devoted Christian while living completely contrary to those values. Edit 3. For those saying I should have just broken up with her, you're right. I could have. But that would have left her free to continue manipulating everyone around her, including her family. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is to remove the masks they hide behind. The truth may hurt, but lies destroy from the inside out. It 4. Update. It's been 6 weeks. I've moved on with my life, but I heard from a mutual friend that Naomi has returned from her retreat and is living with her parents under their guidance. Her father has maintained his position at the church after speaking to the congregation about forgiveness and the challenges of raising children in today's world. The family has apparently framed this as a prodigal daughter story of redemption. As for me, I'm dating again. Someone who doesn't ask me to pretend to be something I'm not. I wish the Thompsons healing, but I don't regret bringing the truth to light. Some lessons can only be learned through consequences.